Hi everyone, and welcome to the Icehouse podcast. It is so awesome to have you listening and tuning in today as we talk with a cohort from the Leadership Development Program. So we've got Tahu Huntley, who's the Regional Seasonal Employer at Hortus, James Brown, who's the National Account and Business Development Manager at Boxman Group, and Kaylie Hopkins, who's the Project Delivery Team Manager at Energy Light Group. So thanks guys for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Cool.
Good.
Yeah, and we'll jump into it with our first question. We'll start with you, Tahu, which is explain to us the business that you work in and your role.
All right. I'll try and keep it brief, but as much as I can anyway. So basically, we are a large contracting company in Marlborough, Blenheim, primarily in viticulture, although that's not all we do. We pretty much anything to do with horticulture is what we kind of try to specialise in. So within that we do labour contracting, also machinery management, and we also have a 356 bed accommodation facility.
Wow.
That we house our workers in. So my role within the business is I am responsible for the recruitment and the pastoral care of seasonal Pacific labour. And so we get guys in from PNG, Solomons, Vanuatu, Fiji, Samoa, Tonga, and Tuvalu, ladies as well.
Wow, cool.
So as you can imagine, there's a lot of admin involved with that, flights to organise, visas. We have to work a lot with MSD and immigration and MBIE. And then
Good
also
job.
once they're here, all the inducting and wellbeing and pastoral care. So we have to accommodate them. We're responsible for like medical issues and all that sort of stuff as well. So quite a beast.
Yeah. Has it been affected by COVID at all? Bring people in?
That could be a whole nother podcast. Right?
Yeah. Cool. We'll get you on to have a discussion about how to deal with that during COVID. Yeah, totally. I can imagine that would be massive. Okay, awesome.
Thankfully, just on that, everyone that's wanted to go home, I've managed to get home up till November, so that's good.
Awesome. So you had quite a lot of people here already, I'm guessing, and probably were quite happy to stay in New Zealand.
Yeah. So the guys that have wanted to stay on and continue working to support the Pacific, because obviously there's no jobs in the Pacific anymore.
Yeah, of course.
Dead, so all the fishermen have got no one to sell their fish to, and all the vegetable grow up, like there's just nothing there. So
yeah,
to stay, which is pretty big.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Cool. What about you, Kaylie? Your role and the business you're in?
All right. Well, I work for Energy Light Group, commercial lighting company. Look, actually, it's got many other companies that fit underneath that group. So when I did Icehouse, I worked for Energy Light, which now slots under the group. We also have Altitude, which is Melbourne-based, kind of a sister company to Energy Light. Also, so I look after the team, project delivery team. They look after everything from tender to order to delivery to after sales service. As well as we have just started another company called Box. So Box is like your Bluetooth enabled lighting control solutions.
Awesome.
So it's pretty new. So that's just a new venture we've kind of gone into in 2020, as well as OSIN, which stands for Outside In, which brings nutritional light for better sleep. So very interesting stuff, very new stuff for us.
That is really cool. That's yeah, top of the line. That's great. I need to look into more of that. That's really cool. Awesome. So your role's a lot of sort of efficiency, team, working together well and all that sort of thing. Is it how?
Yeah, absolutely. So we used to have unique roles and it didn't really work because you need a team to be able to deliver all those things. So after Icehouse, we actually went into a big, let's look at what we do and let's change it all. So awesome. Yeah, I'll get to that later on.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. That's so cool. What about you, James?
So Boxman Group, Boxman Alpha Limited. And our business is primarily everything based around shipping containers, which is an interesting market to be in under current COVID climate.
So true.
Just nothing's coming into New Zealand. So if anyone's bringing anything into New Zealand, they'll know the restraints around shipping. But it's deeper than that or wider than that in that there's a shipping container shortage, which really has stemmed from a big shutdown of factories back in 2009 GFC.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, a bit like Kaylie, or Tahu, beg your pardon, there's a long story to the side of what we do. So my role has changed from when I did the Icehouse course. So at that time it was a in-house customer services position, servicing our 4 main branches around New Zealand.
Yeah.
Really for business that always came to us, and that was Boxman's model. We every customer would come to us. At the start of last year, Jack, the general manager, who also did the course with me, he developed this role as a business development and national account. So really changing our focus from being quite evenly spread from B2C, B2B type business into more heavily tainted in B2B business, which requires getting out and about. And with that, the tag on that is that our depot managers or area managers were very insight based. We're now spreading out and actually going to see the customers.
Awesome. Really cool. Really cool. So it's got a bit of sales element to it now, is that right?
Very much relationship element to it.
Yeah. Awesome.
And obviously sales is the end goal to that. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Awesome. That's really cool. Cool. So keeping with you, James, why did you join the leadership development program? It sounds like your boss at the time was doing our owner manager program. Is that correct?
Matt had done it a number of years earlier, probably I'm thinking 12 years earlier.
Oh, wow. Cool.
It was a bit of a case of he was hit up by your crew and decided to put both myself and Jack through the course. At that time, our people leadership, we're very, very flat-lined and have continued to be so. So to be fair, I was a little bit, that's a curveball. But thoroughly, once I got into the course, thoroughly embraced the various parts to it. More, the leadership for me wasn't a direct outcome. It was learning the modern way of leadership from where I grew up in a management style where you just kind of did as you were told, and it was very methodical in how you performed, to actually having to be really global and holistic, and understand each individual and how they make up.
Yeah, awesome. Really cool. What about you, Tahu? How did you hear about I know Hortus has done quite a lot with the Icehouse, which is cool. So how did that come about?
You kind of asked a question for me there. So us as a company, I think we've had it'd be at least 10 people go through the LDP within our business.
Awesome.
Owner managers have been, so our owner manager has been involved with the owner manager program.
Yeah.
I've even recently done the exchange program just a couple of months ago up in Auckland.
Yeah, cool.
We're quite big on Icehouse. We love you guys.
Yeah.
So
great.
I pretty much just got told you're going on the LDP.
And you're like, sweet.
I was actually in a quite different role in 2018. I was the landscaping manager at the time. So what I'm doing now is just a complete
it is.
Basically. But we'll get to that, why that happened later on.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Yeah, looking forward to that. What about you, Kaylie?
We had a number of people already go through Icehouse, owner manager program. And so it was suggested to me and Caleb, who also attended, that we should go ahead. Obviously, I was a little bit hesitant at first, being like, well, hang on, what's it going to be like? What will I know? They told me lots and lots of stories about it, their experiences, what they learnt, relationships, and people that they met. So I just thought, well, it's just going to be a challenge to myself, and they'll probably make me do some public speaking. So why not?
Yeah, awesome. Good on you.
Favorite day.
Oh, absolutely. My favorite pastime is speaking in public.
Favorite pastime. Oh gosh. Okay, well, with that, how would you sum up your experience in a couple of sentences or more? Just how'd you sum it up?
And so if I was to sum it up, I would say it actually helped me give a lot of direction and purpose to the role I was in at the time, which has helped me continue on that journey now. It was a really great experience. And what I found looking upon it on reflection is some of the things you learn and the subjects you go through that instantly click, and you're like, I got it, I get it. I was already living that, and this is perfect. It kind of justifies everything I was already thinking. And then over the next coming weeks and months and sometimes years, there's still things that click for me, and I'm like, I get it. That's what it was about. Yeah. And so it just continues to grow.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So cool. Yeah, great answer. It's awesome. We did a Kiwi business story with a guy, Chris, who did owner manager program in 2004, and he said something really similar, just around the fact that it was so many years ago now, but things are still clicking in his mind in terms of how and he's using lots of that stuff from all back in 2004, which is ages ago. So that's cool to hear. What about you, Tahu?
So I read that as one or two words. So my two words was eye-opening.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Eye-opening.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice. I love that.
Up until that point, I've always been well, not always, but often been in sort of team leader type roles, not so much managerial up to that point, but a little bit of managerial stuff. But that was a little bit of an eye-opener in regards to how much more is out there and where I could be. When I looked across the table and heard some of the other experiences of other workers and sort of been through similar stuff, and you sort of bounce off each other, and I kind of a little bit clicked more that actually I can make more of a career of my life and myself and grow a lot more than I had currently up to that point.
Yeah, awesome. Really cool.
Anything, I can't really explain that very well.
No, that's perfect. That's really awesome. What about you, James?
Well, I guess like a lot of the team, we had a built-up expectation of why we were going there. So for me, I think the two words of eye-opening that Tahu used is exactly that. Suddenly there was completely different ways of thinking, looking at how I approach. For me personally, it's got me really quite interested in the psyche of people, because of course every business, every team leader, every manager will always say the hardest thing about business is the relationships of the people in the business, and usually actually the staff more so than the customers. I've been on plenty of sales courses and they kind of all run a very similar pattern. This was further afield with lots of angles and parameters to suddenly look over in different ways. So that's not quite two sentences, but I got to say the expectations blew me away because they were far beyond where I thought I was going to learn from. Awesome.
That's so cool. On that,
and I'll steal James and Kaylie's answers, please.
No, it's great. We've got everyone's answers, different experiences, different ways of communicating. Surely they covered that one off in the leadership development program. No, that's cool. It's awesome. Okay, Tahu, what learnings did you take away from your LDP group? So something you said, which was cool, is how, and our owner managers say this all the time. They turn up, they kind of think, oh yeah, I've got my own pain points or things that's going on in my world. And then they realize that even though the people from different industries and totally different companies have pretty much the same things going on in their world, so it's so easy to relate. Going on from that idea, were there any learnings from your group?
That was pretty much what
I need to stop doing that.
You do, it's mine as well.
That was probably
my mouth closed.
the favorite part of the whole course was,
cool.
Don't get me wrong, the seminars were on point. The people that you get in to run those seminars are absolutely awesome. The slideshows and the PowerPoints, everything, it's great.
Cool.
The thing I took away most from the LDP was exactly that, those learnings you get, and the bouncing off each other, and the sitting around the table at lunchtimes, and like you might pick up on something in a seminar, and then you'll sit down with James, and then we'll discuss it, and we'll we almost come up with our own answers during that discussion, or whatever. It was that people element of how everyone else was dealing within their businesses and reflecting it back on yours, and sharing your experiences. I think that's probably what I got more out of than necessarily even the seminars. Like, not saying it wasn't great, but that was really the big learning curves within it for me anyway.
Yeah, brilliant. That's awesome. James?
Well, you summed it up. You just took all our answers that we've had succinctly. I don't remember you and I actually talking about much at lunchtimes, Tahu.
That was an example.
Yeah.
It was all Tasman Marco talk, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, it's Tasman Marcos. Is that the national provincial champs?
Pretty sure they are, mate.
Yes,
Oh,
yes. So look, exactly that. Irrespective of your nature of your business, we all deal with the same commonality, and that is obviously profit. It's people. It's we might have individual problems. So, you know, for Tahu, his is around COVID. Now, for us, COVID, other than shutting our business down for the shutdown period, like all of New Zealand, so we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
COVID actually hadn't affected us for the whole year. We are now getting a little bit of aftermath of that now. But ultimately, it is every business runs similar problems and challenges, whether it be cash flow, people, more product, less product, change of direction, like Kaylie's business, you know, and gosh, how do you change your business while you're in the middle of running your business? I mean, so all those are there, and I think having people of similar levels, so we all had similar levels in terms of our management structures, was nice to bat off, because we kind of that middle management that's always caught between a rock and a hard place, and being able to deliver the message even if you don't always agree with the answer.
Great, awesome, that's so good. Kaylie?
Exactly the same as everyone else has said. It was
Cool.
great to learn that everybody else is also on a journey. You share the same frustrations, you share the same problems, you share the same thoughts. It was quite refreshing, because I went in there being like, you know, I'm dealing with this, or, you know, I have this that happens, and then you talk to everyone else and everybody has something, and you could talk it through, come up with solutions. Yeah, it was great.
Awesome, so cool. Sticking with you, Kaylie, what are some changes that you made within the business since completing LDP?
Yeah, so when I got back, obviously I had notepads full of notes and all the things I was going to change and how to prioritize it all. But I pretty much just went back to basics and was like, well, what is the team function? What are we doing? Is it working for our business now? Will it grow? Will it scale? So I brought the team in on board with this. We basically all sat together and went on a journey to review what we do, how we do it, why we do it, and how to work more as a cohesive team rather than a group of individuals trying to do a job. Yeah.
Awesome, really cool.
And it helped down the track for when we brought these new business units in, being like, hey guys, just a wee change of what we do, we're also going to do this and this.
Yeah.
So people were more adaptable to the idea of it.
Awesome, yeah, great, awesome. Tahu?
Mine's a bit interesting. So my role back then was the gardens landscaping manager.
Yeah, of course.
What actually happened was, within myself, I realized that I wanted to do something bigger than that, which is why I came into this current role. And what happened is that we actually shut down that whole division.
Wow.
Yeah, so
tell us more.
We did have a gardening division. There was about half a dozen of us just doing different contracts around the province. I wanted to move in a different direction, and AJ, our owner, was also thinking that that particular division wasn't really in line with the rest of the business. It was kind of an odd offshoot. It sounded like a good idea at the time to go down because it was still technically kind of horticulture.
Yeah.
But actually it was quite a different branch of horticulture to what the core business is.
Yeah.
So once this new role came up and I went for it, it more or less became apparent that maybe it was the time to maybe just sort of push that to the side and carry on with the core business and focus more on what we actually do. Because it was a little bit of a distraction, not in a bad way, but it was just not, it was just different. It'd be like Nike doing soft drinks or something, you know, like,
Yeah.
but they were just too different. They were just quite different. So
Yeah, totally.
we actually shut that down. So my 2IC at the time actually took over, bought a lot of the gear and equipment and contracts, and he's doing really well on his own, which is great.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Doing really good.
Yeah, great.
We shut it down actually. So
Yeah. No, cool. And it's cool that sort of it gave clarity, you know, it actually helped the overall business align back to their purpose, which is really cool.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. What about you, James?
So in terms of my direct role in management or change, probably a lot less. So I'm more of a piece of the puzzle in what we've adapted. So as I said, our business was quite evenly split between B2C across a number of different models around that shipping container business.
Yeah.
Part of doing the course for both Jack and myself was that Matt has had a dream for 30 years, Matt being the owner, to house shipping containers fully enclosed in a very large warehouse with a fully automated crane system. Long story short, that was supposed to be all complete about a year ago. We just moved in on the 15th of January this year.
Wow.
So it's now recognised as the largest self-storage facility in New Zealand.
Wow. Congrats.
And not quite fully functional yet in terms of its automated system, but the premises are there. So that's in Christchurch. And if you're ever driving into Christchurch from the north part of the South Island, you can't miss it to the right-hand side of the airport. So my part of the change that's come about in the business is, as I said, turning from a business coming to us to being a proactive and going out and finding new mediums and new ways to bring business into us with a real keen focus on storage by utilising containers. So yeah, I'm a part of the puzzle.
Yeah, cool. I can vouch for that. I've seen photos of it and it is epic. Very big.
Volume of the building.
Yeah.
You know?
Sorry,
the volume of the building is, because it looks.
I don't know your cubic capacity of the building, but it will hold 2,700 equivalent 20-foot containers.
Wow.
And that's not going to be the biggest one. That will be Auckland will obviously amass that by the nature of where the bulk of shipping comes in and out of.
Massive. That's awesome. And cool that it is, you know, it's up there, it's launched, you know, it's opened, even with the delay, it's happened.
I think it says, you know, sometimes, and I put my hand up, always wanting to get straight to the end goal, and sometimes a dream is a dream for quite some time, but you've got to keep that dream burning away, and then eventually by telling a few more people and talking about it, economy's changing and things like that, you get closer to actually planning it and then eventually seeing it to come to fruition. So we've done that, and now we fill it. Awesome.
So cool. That's great. Sticking with you, James, any lifestyle changes that came out of the program?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually really liked Sven, his talk about resilience, mindfulness, and things like that. And it's, you know, that really tied into the psychology around leadership. So spent a lot more time understanding that leadership is every day, not just when you work your 8, 10, 12 hours a day. It's your whole lifestyle. So yeah, I think there's been a lot of personal checking, developing, realizing that there's many ways to skin the same cat, and actually being open-eyed is what Tahu said. You know, those two words, just open your eyes to various ways of thinking, which is kind of scary too, because you kind of think you're on a particular track and felt, oh yes, this is what I think, and then suddenly you go, oh well, hold on, maybe I need to take another look. Yeah
Awesome. That's real cool. What about you, Kaylie?
Yeah, there was a lot that I took away and changed in my day-to-day life. One of them being is that we're always stressed out about our workloads, whether it's your team's workload, whether it's your own workload, but you're always going to be busy, but you don't have to be busy and stressed. You can be busy and learn to appreciate or take time for small things, small wins, small achievements, big achievements, whatever. But we also had, I don't know if you guys remember Kyle on our group. So Kyle used to get up at 5:30, if you guys remember that. And when he was on there, he used to go for a run or a walk. And I used to think he was absolutely crazy. And he challenged me to do it. And I said no. And so after I finished up the program, I started doing it just in case I failed. I didn't want to let him know. And I've been doing it ever since. So I get up at 5:30 every morning and either go for a run or a walk or whatever, just for mindfulness, just for whatever. And yeah, I really enjoy it.
Game changer. How cool is that? Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Tahu?
Yeah, so my answer to this could be a whole nother podcast as well, actually, because I've done some massive internal changes mentally, physically in the last couple of years.
Love that.
Touching on what James said, so resilience and all of that field has been really big with me. So just after I finished the LDP, my then 7-year-old son got diagnosed with a brain tumor.
Wow.
And it was just next level. Like my whole world just flipped.
It's massive.
So what I learned out of that, so he's all right now. It's been a tough couple of years, but he's good. He's back his first day back at school for the year today, which is cool.
Awesome.
But I learned that I wanted to do something that had more impact on a wider group of people.
Great.
Just doing stuff for myself and my little family wasn't enough. Like my empathy's, I've never considered myself a particularly empathetic person, but now I feel like I've completely changed.
Awesome.
So lifestyle wise, I wanted to change a career into something where I could have more impact, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing. I literally have impact on thousands and thousands of people.
Great,
so
yeah.
Last winter we had 364 RSC that I was responsible for. It's dropped down to, so winter's our busy period, so it's dropped down to 162 now. But when you think about it like that, that's massive. And I had a really big effect on all these people and the money they can make. And so they send the money home to educate their children and build houses and start businesses and all that sort of stuff. So like in my heart, it's a good job. It's really fulfilling. So I've done that. And then just within myself, like what Kaylie was saying, I'm a lot more into fitness and just keeping my body and my mind right. So I've done a lot actually. Another podcast, but it's been really, really big couple of years for me. Lifestyle wise, it's been really quite nice as well. There's things that I've learned the last couple of years that I'll take with me for the rest of my life.
Wow, amazing. And congrats as well. I had a bit of insight into your story, but just incredible how your family's walked that out and then come with this understanding of wanting to make a bigger impact and purpose in your work, which I think is really inspiring. So
started doing volunteer work and everything. It's really weird.
Wow, that's so awesome. I love that. That's really cool. Thank you for opening up about that too. Maybe saying on you, Tahu, what's one thing 2020 taught you that you're taking into 2021?
So as was kind of touched on, COVID was massive for us.
Yeah.
Having like literally hundreds of people stuck in a country that they don't want to be in, wanting to be home, thinking about the safety of their families, well-being, everything like that. It's been really quite challenging. And even just within the business, trying to keep up productivity with a work group that's down, and it's been really challenging. One thing that 2020 taught me is don't sweat the small stuff and just head down, bum up, get on with it, because you can't control what you can't control. So there's no point worrying about it. Just do what you can and get on with it.
Awesome. Great. That's gold. That's gold right there. That's cool. What about you, Kaylie?
Yeah, I agree. I actually noted down that you can only control the controllables. So 2020 taught me that nothing's certain. Nothing's certain. That can just in a second change. I was lucky enough to be in amongst a group of people that adapted really quickly. We changed a lot of what we did. We've stuck with that change. It makes us more adaptable. But yeah, that's definitely what it taught me. you got to be adaptable.
Yeah, that's great. That's really cool. James?
Oh, well, probably not one thing. I mean, if you only take one thing out of a year, it seems a little bit short, especially for what we should have been learning. I mean, community, Tahu touched on his volunteer work and that. I mean, for me, working from home during that lockdown period made me appreciate how long a day can be, and that you don't actually have to work through set our criteria. So that's something that is really appealing going forward, to actually not have to be turning up and leaving at a particular time. Stopping and talking to people. I have a young family, or not as young as Tahu's now, but we're always busy, and we're always racing to the next. Thanks, mate. Yeah, it comes with age, but we're always rushing to the next thing, and then. Even though we were having 2-metre conversations through COVID, we actually got to know people 3 houses down the street that I probably had never even seen much of before, and to understand who they were and how they fit into community. So I think just stopping and sniffing the roses, and also an ability to bounce. So, personally I had some challenges, but hopefully I came through them quite quickly. So it's a year that is very reflective, and let's hope we don't forget. I think I'm a bit of a skeptic a little bit that we're going to revert back to the beam. Hopefully we don't. Hopefully we retain this and we grow and learn from it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. What about you, Kaylie?
Just to bounce off that, it's a bit of a buzzword at the moment, but one thing I thought we learned within our business too is we're really good in chaos.
Yeah.
Like post-COVID, I think like us as a business unit, I'm not just talking about myself, but generally my other colleagues as well, is that we just got stuck in, and like amidst all of the uncertainty and chaos, the business has come out of it really quite strong. And I think looking forward, I think we might be around when others crumble.
Totally.
Quite. I shouldn't say that's cool, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah, totally. Sometimes something like this can really bring a team together, and it's amazing what you can get done when it's like, cool, you've got to get this done in 24 hours, or life changes within 24 hours. People can adapt, which is cool. Awesome, really cool. Any other comments on that one? Any thoughts?
Yeah, like adversity forces you to think outside the box. Some of the best ideas come out of adversity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, bad example, but World War II, the technology that came out of that is pretty much shapes modern society.
So true.
Sometimes bad things can be good.
Yeah, so true. That's cool. Awesome. This has been really, really valuable. Thanks, guys. Last question for everyone. What's one piece of advice you give an employee who's stepping into a leadership position this year? We'll start with you, Kaylie.
Yeah, so this one I'm kept very short and sweet.
Cool.
Just be confident, believe in yourself, and don't let your inner critic bog you down and take control.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, totally. I think everyone can take a bit of that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Tahu?
Yeah, totally agree with Kaylie. I was going to say something similar, but so I'll just add to that. One thing I've learned is being aware that as a leader, how you are with everybody else creates the culture within the group. So if you're getting to work and for whatever reason you're tired and buggered and you're a little bit snappy, that sets the tone for everybody else below you for the rest of the day. So being really mindful of that, and being aware that even if you're not at your best, don't sort of push that on to other people. So come to work, focus, get in that mindset, make sure everybody else is happy, and then that reflects into the rest of the group.
Totally. You guys have big influence when you're in those leadership positions, so for sure. What about you, James? Any last piece of wisdom?
I think maybe step back sometimes, and I've been guilty of it, when you're so in the middle of doing it all. As Tahu says, sometimes those stresses and those strains can reflect out. But if you can actually give yourself a moment to step back and reflect, and again, I go right back to Tahu's 2 words, which are great: open your eyes to other possibilities. Learn from everyone, even though you think the goal is left. Don't be afraid to change it completely to right, exactly like Tahu's business. You know, he thought he was going down the avenue of expanding landscaping, and that's gone. You know, that happened in 12, 15 months. So just be open to new possibilities and quick, diverse change.
Yeah, awesome. That's so great. Guys, thank you so much. What an awesome podcast, and I hope those listening have enjoyed it. So thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks, guys.
Good to see you guys.
Thanks.
Thank you. Nice to see you too.